Africa, your king has been crowned. Dricusduplessis just submitted Izzy Adesanya in the 4th round. That's a crazy scenario. I mean, it was always a possibility. A lot of people picked it to happen because Dricus was just going to be too strong, too big for Izzy, but I personally picked Izzy to win, and the way the fight was going, it was pretty much the way I envisioned it. Izzy was doing his thing with the boxing. He actually surprised me with his boxing because he was more willing to trade and use the body shot. He was less at range. Izzy likes to fight at range and like pick his opponents apart, but in this fight he was actually in the pocket a lot. But as much as I want to like congratulate Izzy for his performance and like wish him good luck, I can't help but like be happy for his downfall. And it seems pretty extreme to say it, but I am happy for his downfall. The way Izzy's been acting all week, and not just all week, but now I'm kind of putting the pieces together. And with everything that's been happening regarding Izzy, that motherfucker needs help. Like, seriously. And I hate when we talk about a fighter and we look back at their whole career and kind of question their achievements. But Izzy might have been overrated as a striker, because I get it, your physicality and all of that decreases as you get older, but turning your head while running away after getting clipped by Dricus, just like turning your head, not even look, and start to run away, and you get finished like that, that's a bad look. Like, I personally think that Izzy was and is a whole overrated striker. He's not top 10 in the UFC. He was always just ranger and longer and taller than all of his opponents. And the fact that Dricus was up 2-1 in the rounds, like 2 rounds to 1, tells me a lot about Izzy. Like, he was not dominating the fight, as people like to say on Twitter or whatever. It was not like Izzy was not dominating and he just got caught. It was a very close fight that Dricus was leading. But Izzy, man, like, as much as I could talk about their fight and their performances, like, it's gonna be for another video, because this video is about Izzy as a character. And I know it's like taboo and tricky to talk about a fighter's character because we don't know them personally, but I think I've seen enough of him to to have an opinion. Israel Adesanya is going through an identity crisis, and his behavior at the press conferences and at the weigh-in show and everything, all of his appearances this week just made it more evident. And when Dricus started talking about him and his servants, it's an actual fact that you can look up yourself. Izzy did have servants. He grew up in Nigeria with servants. He didn't know how to bathe himself until he was 8. And now when Dricus made a joke about the dogs and people are kind of clowning Dricus like, oh, you're immature. No, Izzy has videos out there and proof out there of dog related stuff, whether it be the girl on Twitter that does OnlyFans, like dressed like a dog, and whether it be the videos or him diddling his dog. Izzy has a fetish with dogs, man. It is weird, and we need to stop denying it, because now everything that we say about Izzy comes back to our face by his fans. And I was one of them. Like, I made a video last week talking about how, oh damn, I'm low-key rooting for Izzy, but his behavior all week was so weird. The next day after the press conference at the weigh-in show, he said Dricus owned slaves. He called Dricus a slave owner. The whole buildup was him trying to race bait Dricus. Dricus, the things he said and the way he said it could have been taken the wrong way. I understand that from the side of Usman and Ngannou and Izzy and all of them. I understand how they could have taken it the wrong way. But what Dricus objectively said was he's the first residing, breeding, training African teammate. He evolved in the African promotion. He did everything out of Africa. When these guys left Africa very young and they basically evolved out of Africa, he wanted to be the first to represent Africa. And that's a humble ambition, if you ask me. But Izzy just made it about race. Izzy, the whole buildup of the fight, was posting videos about Hitler, like comparing Dricus to Hitler, talking about his ancestors. And it's funny for Izzy to say, don't talk about family, when the whole buildup, if you look at his Twitter, if you look at the past posts, Izzy was talking about Dricus' ancestors and his family, and oh, where does that mindset come from? And the Hitler stuff, and it was just so weird. Like, everything he's doing is so weird. And the pictures of Dricus as a teenager on the scale, like, I wouldn't have guessed that he was a teenager in this, but still, Dricus told him, hey, I was a teenager. And Izzy kept clowning, like, oh, it must have been cold that morning, or somebody's mad. Bro, he's telling you he was a teenager in the picture. Why don't you just say my bad, delete it? But nah, Izzy, he doubles down on every weird stuff that he does. It's creeping me out, bro. It's creeping me out. And even in the fight, to talk all that shit and to say that he's gonna kill his dream and all of that, to go in a fight and like turn your head when you're getting punched. And I'm not saying you look like an amateur. It was really good. It was a good fight. But the mistakes that he made that led to his loss by submission were some amateur stuff, like turning your head and running away. What is that? From the best striker in the UFC, the most creative, the more dynamic. Like, he's not none of those things. I'm telling you right now, he's not none of those things. In the middleweight division, he had an advantage on every opponent he had, whether it be making them make a quick turnaround, like against Vettori, that he couldn't even finish and it was the most boring fight ever, or Whitaker, that he's like 6 inches taller than, and even then Whitaker arguably won the second fight. And then the Romero fight, that was so boring again. The Cannonier fight, that again he just used his length to stay at range and leg kick him. Like, I'm seeing the bigger picture now, and Izzy was always kind of fraudulent. Not to say that he's not good, like, none of those achievements can be taken away. He did knock out Robert Whitaker to win the middleweight belt. He did knock out Alex Pereira to win back the middleweight belt. Like, those things happened. But overall, his overall legacy that he was just so much better than everyone else, that's not true. That's just false, and it was never the case. Like, Izzy in his career claimed 4 different countries, but when an African champion comes and says, I'm gonna rep my country, my people, till the day I die, every day I'm going back home with the belt, with my people. And Izzy's like, oh, you're saying this to discredit us. It's not the case, bro. You're Chinese. You're Chinese, and you're New Zealand, and you're Australian, and you're whatever. You're Nigeria when it's time to tap in with your ancestors, but then you're New Zealand. And against Rob, when he was fighting Rob, he was angry at Rob because he said that, oh, us New Zealanders or Kiwis or whatever, us Kiwis don't like Australians. He was a Kiwi, but then he crossed to Australia. It's that side, fuck the other side. He was talking like he was repping New Zealand the whole build-up of the fight against Whitaker. But then an African becomes champ, and it's like, oh, you're trying to say I'm not Nigerian. Bro, you cannot be everything. You cannot be everything. And the servant stuff, you talked about it yourself. We can all look it up. So to get that mad against Dricus, because now it's time to pass as a victim. Now you want to look like you had to flee your country and you want to tap in with the culture. He's comparing his scenario to those of the other Africans who had to leave their countries because of war and hunger, and they really had to leave, or Ngannou that had to cross the desert like 6 times. He's comparing his story to theirs. But bro, you grew up as a rich kid and your dad had an opportunity or whatever in New Zealand and he took it. Like, you did not have to flee. You're not a refugee, bro. Stop acting like one. Anyways, I just been ranting and like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but damn, I'm kind of off the Izzy train. Like, to be honest, I'm kind of done with Izzy. I wish him well. Like, I think he's a good fighter. Overrated, but he's definitely a good fighter. And I think he's gonna stay in the top 5 at middleweight until he retires. But his behavior, and he's always salty. When Sean Strickland won the belt and then lost it to Dricus, he was clapping and like making fun of Strickland, saying, oh, what a title reign, what a title reign. The things he did, like dropping in front of Pereira's kids, humping Paulo Costa, but then begging Sean Strickland to not clown him after his loss. It's like, bro, you're just a hypocrite and a very sore winner. Like, if he lost, no, I mean, if he won against Dricus, this would have not gone this way. Now, supposedly, he's a fan of Dricus, and it's Africa stands together. But if he won, he was gonna drag his carcass across South Africa. He had already planned the trip to South Africa, but now from his post-fight interview, I don't think he's going there no more. But still, like, you just see that if the scenarios would have been reversed, it would have not have gone this way. And it's not even like I can take him as a heel, like I think Juliana Pena, for example, or Colby Covington. This guy's actually deep in his delusion. Everything he says, he believes it, and everything he feels is genuine. Anyway, in conclusion to this, to my rant, to my story, I don't ever want to hear those one-liners again. Fuck the belt, I'm coming for your head. When I aim between your eyes, I won't miss. I don't know who he is, but I will show him where he's from. Like, man, shut up. Great fighter, great run, but I think he did so more with his personality than with his actual fighting. He had some good performances, like he had some highlights, definitely, but some dull fight as well. So yeah, I think his personality benefited him a lot. And other fighters and fans as well kind of got snake charmed, like Eric Nixlick would say. We got snake charmed to believe that Izzy was something that he was not. And now that he's lost a couple, like I think he's 4-4 in his last 8, and his behavior just keep getting worse and worse, we kind of see through the character. So yeah, you might not agree, but that's my opinion. Like, it made me feel some type of way to watch this, actually. Like, to watch Izzy's behavior with Dricus, and since the Robert Whittaker fight, actually stepping in the cage and doing all of that, it made me feel some type of way. And now that he's lost, like, damn. Anyway, I'm done for now. Good luck to Izzy and whatever he does next. I don't hate him as a person. I don't know him as a person. I'm just talking about what he has shown me recently and giving an opinion. Stay safe out there. See you soon.